Hello, welcome to Nezzo's Bad Shop. I'm your host Nezzo, and today I perform my Shakedown version 2 on the HPI Stage D10 RTR. For the V2 Shakedown, all I did was replace all of the stock electronics and the radio system. The chassis retains all of my settings from the version 1 tune. You will see in the driving footage that the Reve-D RDX plastic shocks are installed on the car. Since this video was filmed, I have replaced the O-rings in the stock HPI shocks, and they are now back on the car for future videos. One of the future videos, the Shakedown version 3, I will be actually swapping the plastic shocks for aluminum shocks. I also forgot to shoot B-roll footage of the electronics installed on the chassis, so you're going to see them in the video. Since this video was filmed, I have learned a couple more things about this car that you've probably seen in the version 1 Shakedown video. Anyways, let's get on track with the version 2 Shakedown. Alright, we're on track with the HPI Stage D10. This is now more into a version 2 tune because I have swapped all the electronics and radio system for all the kinds of good stuff that we love. I just used what I had sort of sitting off to the side / whatever I could get donated to me really quickly because I didn't really have too many spare electronics chilling. However, what I have installed is Reve-D RSST Servo, which they're not my favorite servo, but it's what I have spare. I'd rather put in an OMG Falcon or something, so maybe if I have time I'll change it out for a later video. But that's the servo that's in it. I paired it with a Revox gyro, so that's a nice combo. Those seem to work pretty good together. And then for motor and ESC, it's a Yokomo DX1 RPM style motor combined with a good old BL Pro 4 ESC. And I have that ESC tuned all the way up in my favorite tune, 32 kilohertz, lots of boost, turbo, all that stuff. Oh yeah, we're pushing well over 90,000 RPM as per tradition. So I'm trying to give it all the hot sauce electronics-wise, but keeping the car still kind of all with factory parts here. Aside from the Reve-D oil plastic shocks that I installed on the V1 Shakedown, just because the other O-rings swole on the HPI shock. So we decided let's put some actually working suspension at the moment on. And the only other thing I did while putting these electronics on, as a little advisement from my buddy Cheese, shout out to Cheese. I think he's in the back of shot here. He was packing up when I hit the record button. But anyways, we made a subtle change where we took about, we spaced out the ball studs on the steering rack that are on the tie rods 2 millimeters, so I'll show you that. That was just to delete a little bit of Ackerman. Cheese felt I had a little bit too much Ackerman on the car, so we dialed out a little bit, and it's running a little bit more smoother now anyway. But having boost and turbo and all that stuff means, man, can we ever rock serious angle for a lot longer now, rock gutter backies and do all that boosty brake stuff. And because we have much more cooperating radio system and newer gen electronics in the sense of drift specific, the Reve-D Servo and Reve-D Gyro combo, paired with my 10px radio and a Futaba receiver, everything is ultra smooth. There is no more jitter in the front end at all. There wasn't any really with the HPI stuff, when I had tuned all that. But now we have a little more precision and a lot more drivability. And you can see Josh is having no trouble sending the chassis only through the gutter and all that. So I'll try and get some close-up shots here. So you can see the electronics doing their thing, the third-party aftermarket electronics. Everything's working good. And we added a fan to the motor because we've been hammering the boost on this car like big time. And just, oh yes, look at it, effortless. And it works really good now. So the tune I haven't changed other than just a little bit of a tiny adjustment on the rack, and I'll show that off just before we put the body on it. But basically, yeah, electronics change, and without really changing the car majorly, putting aluminum stuff on it, this is the result, and it runs really good. Look at that, straight through the gutter, no problem. And we were able to tandem and do all kinds of stuff a little bit earlier tonight. I'll probably get some footage a little bit later with some tandem stuff, showing that off. I'm standing by Tim Hortons here. We're gonna get some more gutter specific high-speed entry footage, which we all love to watch and see. Josh has no problem sending it through. I mean, he didn't have problems sending it through before, but now it's way more effortless. And Josh says this car right now feels a lot more like his MC1. And half the time he catches himself trying to drive it like his MC1. But there is still a limitation because this car is still completely plastic, whereas Josh's MC1 is mostly carbon fiber and aluminum. But look at that. It's just, it is just lap after lap after lap of straight consistency. So on top of it working really well with a lightish tune and an electronic swap, we have quite a lot of consistency going on right now. Josh is very comfortable. And we actually killed a battery right when we were going to film because we were having so much fun testing and tuning. A couple people were driving it, including Cheese, and he likes it as well, which is why he gave me the subtle advisement on the steering rack. After he drove it for, I don't know, two or 3 minutes, he's like, okay, let's just do this, and then I think you're gravy because it's awesome. So, yeah, let me just get a little gutter whip entry from here, and then I'll pull over and I'll show you what's what here. Yeehaw! Oh, did I block you? I don't know if I blocked him. He sent it in super duper hard. Okay, anyways, let me show off what's going on here. So just like before, there is the car. Now, first thing I'll show you is, I'm gonna turn it off because we're gonna put the body on it anyway. So what I did, me and Cheese, I did the wrench turning, Cheese did the theory and advisement. So this ball stud, I've loosened it off here, 2 millimeters. I've measured that with the caliper. I didn't have a 2 millimeter spacer to put in, so this is one little sneaky Nezo top tip way of test your spacer settings before applying it, because this is into plastic, so it's still threaded, it's still holding. I'm gonna put an actual spacer there so it's nice and solid, but this was a quick and sneaky little way of, hey, does it work like this? Do I need 1 millimeter? Do I need 2 millimeter? 3, 4? So that's a little Nezo sneaky top tip. But otherwise, that's the only thing we did there. And then after that, I just did a subtle adjustment on these turnbuckles down here. But that was mostly so that we could reduce the overall Ackerman. Yeah, so there, you see that full lock, we got lots of Ackerman, but through the range here, this part has been reduced. That full lock, we got lots of it side to side. I still love that for the hot boyness and 90-ness. And look, just whee, that works really good. But in the range here, see when it pops off a 90, this part, the Ackerman through here was reduced a little bit. That gave us a little bit more pace and a little bit more smoothness in the front end. So yes, big shout out to Cheese. And then for electronics, there's the RSST right there. I think this one is at least a year or so old. There it is there. Come on, camera. And then over here, we have the Revox Gyro paired with it. This is one of the earlier versions because it has a red button, not a black one or a blue one. And then a Futaba receiver that was donated by, it's not cameraman Josh, it's test driver Josh today. He actually donated that. And then I had chilling this DX Type R motor by Yokomo, DX1. And it's a 10.5, and then the good old BL Pro 4 ESC with a nice Bad Shop fan cover. And it's got lots of tune, lots of boost. And I kept the original 27-tooth pinion, and we think this is an 82. It doesn't say on it, and I haven't been able to find out, but I believe it's an 82 because we did some quick comparisons. So anyways, that's what's on the car now. Oh, and the fan. And then, yeah, still the stock wheels and stuff. I didn't add any more spacers other than the 1 mil here. 2 mil on the brake disc in there, and then an extra 1 mil. So let's put a body on it. You can really see how this thing jams now and does boosty, brakey, you know, bouncy, weebly things. Okay, be right back. All right, back on track again. HPI Stage D10 with the James D Fun Haver Mustang RTR body and the lights turned on. Look at it, yeehaw! With that glorious phone cord body cable. Whew, that was a mouthful. Yes, so now the body's back on. You have a much better visual now of things. So Josh is going to run the inside of the course here, the technical area, so we can get a bunch of nice shots here. But also, what you can see is he can rock a lot more angle, a lot more easier, dropping it into the gutter more easier too. But also, with these boost and brake hits, you'll see a lot more body torque action, a lot more weight shift. There, you see that? Front to back. Especially after a little bit here when he starts spicing it up and really hammering the boost braking and all that stuff. There's a little bit there. You can see a little bit there too. Especially through here where we try to rock major angle in the tight areas. Switch backing is nice and super smooth now. And look, just whoop, drop it in, drop it out. So good. Yeah, you see all that lots of weeble wobble action? Very good. And this body just, yeah, I've said it before, it looks epic on track. And these are still the stock wheels, 3mm up front, 6mm in the rear. We got 2mm spacers provided by HPI up in the front with an extra 1mm Reve-D spacer as well. So it's basically 6mm in the front. And I'm sure if we put the Reve-D 4mm fancy 3/4 wheel in the rear, I'm sure we'll gain some pace as well. But I do have a plan to try and throw some aluminum shocks on this thing. Hopefully the next time I get it filmed in the next couple days here. But yeah, it's going really well. So yes, I was just about to say, Josh, might as well start going hot boy mode and turning it up a little bit. Go a little bit faster. Now we're gonna skip the inner section over there. But look at this thing. This tracks so much better and so much smoother now, simply from electronics change mostly. I mean, the subtle little steering geometry change was just an optimization, but the electronics really bring it alive. Like, you can literally plant it on the wall. Like this is literally riding wall. Look, wall to entry, wall, 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 wall. How about here? Let me just look at the wall, 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 more wall, so much wall. Coming over to, guess what? More wall, more wall. Yes, there's really too much more to say about it other than, yeah, the potential, like I thought, big, massive. A couple other guys that drove it earlier with these electronics, they're like, holy cow, this thing is an animal. This is a weapon, like what the heck? Pretty much a lot of the same sort of things we were saying about the stock RDX when it debuted about 4 years ago or whatever, at least 4 some years ago now. So, yeah, by the time you've seen this video, this thing should be on sale, because we're filming this ahead of time. Shout out to K-Pop for lending it to me. I still got to try and put a diff in it and play with this diff and or a couple other things. We were also debating what aluminum parts we could try and bolt onto this car really quickly, like some knuckles or I'm not sure what else, some braces or some other motor plate. Well, this motor plate moves in many different ways apparently. So maybe thinking maybe knuckles or maybe something in the steering else, or change the lower arms or whatever. But otherwise, right now, no, it drives so good. I don't want to change it, but maybe K-Pop will want to change it later. But like, oh, just awesome. Okay, let me go hang out at Tim Hortons here. You can do drifty oval stuff. Actually, wait. Yeah, do one more of this lap, and then you can do drift oval and drive over the barriers there, the curbs, and you can see a little bit of a damping check, I guess. But Cheese is still here. I thought he left. Yeehaw! Shout out to Cheese. Big boosty backy, bounce off the wall. All right, now you can do drifty oval stuff. You see it bounce over the curves there. I'll get another better shot of that in a second. This is just to show off a bit more of the high speed. Wee-hee! And this is with P-tile tires, so here's a damping check. Yeah, working really good. And this is just the Reve-D plastic suspension. Look at it, right in, right out, no problem. So basically, the car is straight from the box. A bit of chassis tuning, add a few little pieces, swap the electronics fully, and my goodness. I've been running around the track so much, I'm starting to sweat now. But it's all worth it because this car runs really, really well. To the point where, yeah, at least a couple of guys that have driven it, they're basically waiting for it to go on sale. And every time I bring it out here for the advanced filming, they're all, can I try it? Can I try it? Yep, you can, and they did, and they like it, and they're just hoping it comes in a couple colors, and I think we're gonna have to find some way of identifying them when we have like 10 on track at once. I think that's gonna happen. So yes, I'll let Josh rock one more massive backy here, but basically, oh yeah, I totally recommend it. You put a nice electronics radio system in it, it totally comes alive. Like it was already quite alive, and now it's like it's turned into full-on Godzilla, even though it's a Ford Mustang. So yes, there it is. I'm gonna pull Josh over now. He's done wonderful with it, test driver Josh. And there it is. So with all those cool electronics in it, it runs very well. And oh yeah, the only other thing I really had to do was I had to trim just a little bit of the body here in the front just to accommodate the wheels. Can you give me a little steering there? Just a little bit. Yeah, see? Just a little bit just to clear it. So just a little bit of trim here because we added a bit more offset. I forgot to mention that previously, but that's nothing. That's easy to do. Just a little scissor, a little trim. But otherwise, yeah, it still looks amazing. And it sounds a bit more noisy because there's an extra fan in it now. But that's okay. And with all the boost, it drives really, really well. So this has massive potential. And yeah, you need not worry. You'll know, you can see now what it can do with all that. And this is still a completely plastic car. So with this package, with the wheels, tires, and bodies and everything else, this whole complete thing, just, yeah, adding all your stuff from, say, a backup car and throwing it all in here, this will come alive right away. And then, yeah, put whatever suspension on it. We're still debating throwing aluminum shocks on it in the next video. If I do end up filming that, that's what's going to happen. And maybe we'll throw some aluminum parts on it just for giggles. But otherwise, yes, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. If you went out and got one right away, if you want to do all the tuning and all the electronic stuff to it, this is basically the video for it. And you know what to do now. Otherwise, yeah, you're going to keep yours box stock. You're going to change all the wheels, tires. You're going to add more stickers. Are you going to wait and get a base model car? Or are you going to try and get this Formula D style livery with the James Dean fun haver, all kinds of words and numbers there? Anyways, let me know, and we'll go from there. And you'll see a bit more of this, as much as I can film before I have to give it back to K-pop. Yes, and probably the next time you see this, it'll be jamming in amongst a bunch of cars on a train, probably, with some other componentry on it. And until then, I will talk to you later. Bye for now.